I'll be speaking about Thomas Ricciardi, a former member of the Lucchese's Jersey faction. On August 13, 1993, Ricciardi was convicted for racketeering, extortion, and the 1984 murder of Vincent Coppola. Shortly after, he decided he wanted to cooperate. One of the reasons for making this decision, according to him, is he found out that Michael Coppola, in an act of ultimate betrayal, brought a fabricated story regarding Ricciardi and Anthony Asatoro to Vicamuso and Gaspar Casso, the Lucchese bosses. The story was that Ricciardi and Asatoro were planning a coup to take over the family. As a result, Vic and Gas okayed a hit on the both of them. Time and time again, it's a common theme when it comes to the mob, principally the Lucchese family, where false information is spread that puts people's lives at risk, and all for personal gain. When Ricciardi began talking with law enforcement, he had a lot to say, and although they were eager to take his information, what was most valuable to them was details concerning murders. And Ricciardi mentioned a certain murder that had the investigators on the edge of their seats. It was the 1977 murder of Geneovese member Johnny Coke's Lardieri, a cold case murder that remained stagnant from 1977. To the investigators' delight, Ricciardi implicated Michael Coppola, a New Jersey Genovese captain. Since his early 20s, Coppola became associated with the Genovese Jersey faction headed by Peter LaPlaca and Tino Fumata. LaPlaca once told a prison associate that he planted people like potatoes in New Jersey. By the 1970s, Coppola was part of a Genovese crew that were carrying out hits, mostly on suspected informants, and he was possibly part of the .22 caliber murders. Numerous murders that were carried out in the 1970s, where all the victims were killed by .22 caliber bullets. Johnny Coke's Lardieri, in 1977, was in a New Jersey prison for a contempt charge for refusing to testify before a state commission investigation regarding organized crime in New Jersey. Another person in prison with Lardieri was Philadelphia captain Ralph Blackie Napoli. And supposedly, Lardieri got into an argument with Napoli and disrespected him in the process. And as the story goes, it was Napoli who pushed for him to be killed. Lardieri was approved for a 26-hour furlough for the Easter holiday on April 10, 1977, which happened to be Easter Sunday. He checked himself into the Red Bull Inn in Bridgewater, New Jersey at about 2 a.m. and was just parking his car outside of his room when he got out and a person approached him and shot him to death. But there are facts that came to light about what actually took place that could only be known by the shooter. For instance, in 1983, Coppola was released from prison after serving 5 years for conspiracy and extortion. A group of guys, including members of the Lucchese's Jersey crew, got together in a Newark bar to welcome Coppola home. Ricciardi, who had just recently been inducted, was also in attendance, and it was the first time he was officially introduced to Coppola. At one point, according to Ricciardi, Michael Coppola jokingly said to Coppola, "What are you going to do now, tough guy?" When Ricciardi laughed, Coppola understood he heard the infamous story, one told by him, the shooter in the Lardieri hit. When Coppola approached Lardieri in the early morning hours of Easter Sunday, he pulled out a silencer-equipped .22 caliber pistol and went to pull the trigger, but it jammed. At which point, Lardieri mocked him, "What are you going to do now, tough guy?" Coppola had a backup .38 in an ankle holster that he pulled out and shot Lardieri to death. Along with Lardieri's crumpled body, the police found a cap and both weapons at the scene. Coppola would become an inducted member not long after the hit. Let me quickly interject. My dear friend Johnny Santori told me when I was about 17 years old, as we were taking a walk, to never, under any circumstances, discuss anything you do with anyone. Advice I never forgot, and obviously Coppola didn't possess this wisdom. Again, he spoke about details only the shooter could have known. Not very smart. It doesn't matter if you're in a company of other members. You should never speak about things of that nature. And according to what's said, that comment, "What are you going to do now, tough guy?" was an inside joke among members of the Jersey mob. In 1996, as mentioned, Ricciardi decides he wants to cooperate. At this point in time, Coppola is a captain controlling his family's interest in New Jersey. And Ricciardi gives information on this cold case implicating Coppola as the shooter. Consequently, on August 8, 1996, Coppola served with a summons to provide his DNA regarding a New Jersey investigation into the Lardieri murder. As you could imagine, that had to be a nightmare for him, which is why following receiving the summons, he fled New York. He remained a fugitive for the next 11 years. Records indicate that he and his wife used 3 different aliases to maintain apartments in San Francisco and Manhattan. The highly publicized show, America's Most Wanted, featured Coppola on an episode aired on November 16, 2002. Law enforcement claimed that during his time as a fugitive, Coppola continued to engage in gambling, extortion, loan sharking, and was believed to be involved in the 2005 murder of Geneovese member Lawrence Ricci. Coppola mostly stayed in California, but would venture back to New York on occasion. The FBI received a tip that he was living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and on March 9, 2007, an FBI agent spotted Coppola and his wife going into a store on 74th Street and Amsterdam Avenue, where they were arrested. He was arrested on an outstanding federal fugitive warrant, but was eventually transferred to the state of New Jersey. Coppola would be sentenced to 42 months for the fugitive charges after pleading guilty. His wife received probation for the charge of harboring a fugitive. There are unconfirmed rumors that at one point in 2009, Coppola was going to cooperate, and that the FBI put him up in a Manhattan hotel for 2 days before he reneged. Nevertheless, in July 2009, Coppola went on trial for racketeering, extortion, wire fraud, and the murder of John Lardieri. Tommy Ricciardi appeared as a government witness. Initially, he was only identified as CW during pretrial motions, but at the trial, he testified how Coppola boasted about the Lardieri murder, and even stated that Lardieri died like a man, most likely because he didn't cower when a pistol was pointed at him, but instead mocked Coppola when his gun jammed. Ricciardi repeated a conversation that he had with Coppola regarding murders in general. Coppola told him, "Some you do with tears in your eyes. Don't get me wrong, you may not agree what you gotta do, but you gotta do what you gotta do." Ricciardi also spoke about a time in 1988, the night before the murder of Ray Barbario. He was having drinks with Coppola, who told him that he was on the road, meaning he was on an assignment for a hit. He even showed Ricciardi the pistol that he was carrying. Please remember to like this video if you haven't already, as it helps with the algorithm. And for anyone who'd like to show appreciation, or more crucially, help me take a stand against the sabotaging of this podcast, you can do so by the Super Thanks icon down below, or the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. And thank you. Coppola would be convicted on July 21, 2009, but was acquitted of the Lardieri murder and sentenced to 16 years for the racketeering and extortion charges. The state of New Jersey tried getting him indicted for the murder, but in December 2009, a Superior Court judge dismissed the charges after giving the state 120 days to get a grand jury indictment. Michael Coppola was released in October 2022, and the murder of Johnny Cox Lardieri had no repercussions.